Rulers and despots, this is internet personality Vangelus, and DX9's D series came out of nowhere with a total masterpiece-alike Megatron for its 9th numbered release. Mightron, not to be confused with X13 War and Pocket Mightron, continues the trend of the D series' friggin' top-notch box art design, once again making for a majorly eye-catching visual on any dealer table or store shelf. But you're probably not a dealer or a store owner, so let's shuck this thing and get to the robot meat within. By the way, this guy may ship with his gun barrel all safetied up. Never fear, it will probably be as simple as this to make it dangerous, cool, and edgy. Keeping children safe is for squares and small-timers. Mightron cuts a fairly straightforward and unstylized take on Megatron's robot mode, which is quite frankly a small feat for any toy that also wants to turn into a handgun. Certainly, sacrifices clearly have been made as soon as you look at his rather unattractive backpack, but at least there's a logic to what's there, with everything finding a place to lock in, or at least not jostle around. From some angles, Mightron comes off a tad skinny, but it's that special kind of skinny which disappears and reappears as you turn the figure over in your hands. There is some die-cast content, by the way, most blatantly in the pistol barrel on his back. He's got a delightful silver sheen throughout, bouncing off of matte black and poignant red plastics. Truth be told, as simple as he looks, there aren't any major areas that feel egregiously unpainted to me. There are a few messy visual spots regardless of paint though. From the wrong angles, there's a fairly big gap underneath each of his armpits. His skirts are generally floaty and awkward, and his legs lack any kind of sweeping curvature on their front surfaces, entirely due to his transformation engineering. Mightron's head sculpt, however, is pure magic. I am astounded at how well DX9 captured the look and feel of an 80s animated Megatron from almost every angle, especially given the D series' predilection towards cheek-bony, chin-strappy faces. There has been much forum talk about transplanting this head to other toys, and I cannot blame anybody for dreaming about that kind of surgery. The cranial joy continues as, in order to swap facial expressions, you need only lever a plate off of a tab. I hate unscrewing things to use option parts, so this gets huge bonus points from me. Unfortunately, the alternate face has a great sculpt, but is sorely lacking some paint to make it clear that his mouth is open. Mightron's arm cannon has got some batteries inside, LR927 batteries. As long as they've got juice, you can push the button to click a little red LED on and off. It's cute. It's a dot. I don't hate it, but I also feel a special kind of nothing when I see it in action. Being a Megatron, Mightron includes a chain mace, which can plug into his wrist after transforming one of his hands out of the way. I'll take this moment to say that the hand transformation calls for plugging Mightron's thumbs into his palms, and it is painful to do if you don't shave the socket ever so slightly. The chain mace is, well, a chain mace, which means gravity gets in the way of a lot of dynamic posing. There's also a foldable stick and a spooky purple sword in the box. It looks cool. Out of place, but cool. The pieces can form a scythe, by the way. A scythe that was primarily packed in as a bonus for a previously released DX9 figure. A scythe that looks dead sexy with that previously released DX9 figure. The Mighty Mightron's head can look left and right. It's not on a ball socket joint, it's on one of those hinges and mushroom peg swivels, so you can't get him to tilt, which is a shame because, like, this head sculpt looks so good, I want to see him cockily, like, twisting it back and just going like, nah, but he can't. His shoulders are on super detented ratchet joints going forwards and backwards, straight up friction going outwards, decent range, I can go about that far, then this starts butting into that. His elbows are double jointed and can reap most of the full benefits of double jointedness, like that's some pretty good curl. His wrists can swivel, and his hands are weird. His fingers are this DX9 thing that I've seen before, where it's like, the index finger is jointed at the base of the knuckle and in the mid knuckle, and it, you know, it's got a full curl there. Yeah, that many joints. It's all good. This one is like the three fingers are fused, and then they work like this and like that. What's interesting about this is like both of these. The mid knuckle is like a single piece that's double hinging the two together. But it comes off a little bit odd in some postures. Like, you can get a pretty good natural hang, and you can get a pretty decent fist curl. What is a bummer is this thumb. The thumb is on a hinge. The knuckle is also on a hinge. I've got it backwards. There we go. Fixed it, kind of. But this is the thing, right? It rotates, it hinges here, but you can never get the thumb to point forwards. And making a fist, it's possible, but oh, is it ever, I guess, just difficult to get a convincing looking fist. And then the more you look at it from certain angles, the weirder it gets. The hands are odd on this guy, and I wish they could have turned out just a little bit beefier. Now here's a $1 million question. Does he have a waist joint? Kind of. It's not above here, though. Like, this is all immobile. Down here, under the skirt, there is a rotating waist, which is okay, because, I mean, the skirt covers for it for the most part. But then another transformation joint that I find quite helpful is the individual rotational thingies on each hip. If you align those, that can give the impression of a waist turn, I think, much better than actually twisting the waist underneath the skirt. It's all kind of mushy, though. It's all kind of messy. The skirts, by the way, these can get out of the way. This is one big piece. So it's not individual, because these bits fold down inwards. The hips themselves, like, they friction forwards and backwards. And then they've got detents going outwards, and they do that thing, oh man, where that's detent number 1, and then that's detent number 2. You got nowhere between what I would call the widest natural A stance, and then, like, useless. Because, I mean, like, I've never found a pose on this guy that I think looks good when his legs are at their base, like, stock still army man kind of click. Like, I just don't think this ever really looks good. Doesn't really balance that well either. If you tilt the thighs out, like, there is a thigh swivel dedicated in each one, although I find it, trying to use it, I often end up hitting this transformation joint instead. It just doesn't look all that great. Like, this guy kind of has to stay at this sort of wide stance, which ain't bad, it's just limiting. He's got a single knee joint, which is detented, and I'm gonna say, unfortunately, it's detented, because here's the thing, right? If you click it back one click, so it's like, you know, one click back, very slightly bent, but you want it to be straight, you can't get it to go straight from here. You have to go back some more, and then do that, and then it'll lock in its full straight position. But if you tap it too much, it'll pop back that one little click, and then you're stuck. You have to reset the whole thing. It doesn't feel very nice. What does feel nice, actually, are the ankle tilts. They're very solid for friction joints. There's also some forward and backwards motion, but you might have noticed it's part of a double hinge transformation thing, and often I find, like, this isn't quite as useful as I might think it is, because the top part of the double joint moves before the bottom part does. Bottom part is good for posability. Top part just means his foot starts shrinking into his boot. It's a shame. This guy's posability, I would say, is not bad. It is just the epitome of, like, adequate. He's able to get into a number of completely decent poses. I find he can point his cannon pretty darn well, but with the ratcheted shoulder joint. But once I stop doing the number of poses I think he looks best in, if I want to get experimental, or if I want to get, like, you know, just have some fun, make this guy look silly, he just doesn't hold up. These hip ratchets are killer. These knee ratchets are borderline not working right in certain ways. So, you know, this is a guy you buy for what one could call stock Megatron postures, and not a whole lot else. Kick this transformation off by getting those hands stored away. As I said, this may well put dents into your fingers if you don't shave the palm sockets open a tad in their outermost wall. After that, you can get into the best part of the conversion, mass shifting Mightron's arms and legs into G1 toy proportions. It's not actual mass shifting, but extremely clever tricks like this capital effing wonderful double-hinged accordion compression are a wonderful solution to one of the biggest problems in creating a gun alt-mode Megatron with an attractive robot mode. Usually I'd try to be efficient in a transformation segment, but I just want to enjoy this. Let me enjoy this. The lower legs employ the same accordion trick, but the thighs straight up split in half and unfold to thin out their x-axes. The feet do a similar thing, though the extra width is absorbed in their case, and man, once again, let me enjoy this. The limb engineering is the highlight of the toy for me, and I hope to see similar tricks making their way to more figures in the future. With the limbs turned into simplified chunks, It's not to say that the rest of the transformation is anti-fun, it's just the kind of complicated stuff you'd expect from a masterpiece-alike gun Megatron. The rolling torso compression is pretty cool, all things said, but it's very hard to figure out how to do it at first, in either direction, since the instructions for this toy are fairly terrible. Like, you should really ignore them and watch some walkthrough videos. I stuck to the paperwork, and as a result, I was unaware that the die-cast barrel piece has way too tight a fit on the peg inside of the chest shaft. The peg is not entirely necessary, but if you don't shave it down to fit the die-cast socket, it will probably get ripped off when you transform Mightron back into robot mode the first time. Anyway, I'm gonna say that thing you probably hate to hear in a review, but as complicated as this might look, Mightron's transformation becomes really intuitive very quickly. As I said when I reviewed DX9's Shigur, I enjoy a complicated transformation when it operates in chunks, and there is a very linear, chunk-oriented path that guides Mightron towards his gun mode. It helps immensely that his most complicated maneuvers take place with a majority of the toy waiting in static, non-floppy positions. Like, getting the black handle panels to move past each other is already a little tricky. It would have been exponentially trickier if I also had half-formed wads of gun waggling around on jointed sticks. Speaking of jointed sticks, the die-cast stocks the arms are attached to can sometimes be pretty dad-flippin' tight to slide in or out of the corner of the handle that they call home. And speaking of sliding in and out, I like the way that the fusion cannon quietly elongates into a pistol scope. Just like that. This reminds me a whole lot of the G1 Megatron toy. I don't know my handguns all that well, so I don't know how accurate this is to a Walter P38, but it doesn't look wrong to me. Color work is super duper simple, the panel lines between separate pieces don't strike me as terribly egregious, and the trigger has a little spring in it for legitimate pulling action. Also, because it is important to a lot of people, I find that Mightron fits my personal hand grippage pretty well. The handle is a little bit thick in its width, to be sure. I can't believe this is a make-or-break factor for a lot of collectors, but there you go. You can probably hold this gun mode and feel like you could comfortably wave it around for a good long while. If you're gonna do that outside, maybe put the orange plug back in. Sadly, despite a mounting rail on the back of the handle, Mightron includes no add-on parts for that proper man-from-uncle silhouette. Thing is, that shortcoming, along with many others, tend to find an excuse in the fact that this is the least expensive Masterpiece-style Megatron currently on the market. I wish he was more posable, I wish he had more accessories, and I wonder how much all of that was impacted by DX9's keeping him at a $130 price point. Because man, does that lower cost do him some favors. Mightron is a grand update to the original Megatron toy in just about every way, especially in how much it mimics the general broad strokes transformation skeleton. The head sculpt is a joy that may seal the deal for you on sight, depending on your priorities. I love some of his engineering tricks, and even factoring in his faults, the bang for your buck is strong in this gunmetal go-getter. I just can't help but wonder what this figure would have been like if it were $20 or $30 more expensive. If anything, some better hands would have been great, as they are friggin' weird to pose, and a legitimate finger pain to transform. As for how well he fits into a Masterpiece display, that friggin' head sculpt goes an enormously long way to helping him jive with lots of official Masterpieces and unofficial Masterpiece alikes. He's not perfectly G1 cartoon, nor is he pointedly G1 toy, allowing him to fit into the middle of things with adequacy. Unambitious adequacy. Anyway, this has been Internet Personality Vangelus, and oh no, I'm not telling you if this is the Megatron for you. That's up to your personal preferences. And I've got at least one more to talk about.